Shema Yasha'Allah Ahaya Allahaya Nawa Ahaya Achad. Hear, O Israel, the Lord our God is one.
My nationality is Edom. We're the descendants of Esau, and whom most people in this earth call the white people, or the white race. But the Edom in the Bible comes from Esau. He is the twin brother of Jacob, which you can read about in Genesis chapter 25. Esau came out red and hairy like a garment, and his blood showed forth through his skin. So he was from there called Esau, because it means red. And you'll notice that white people, when they get angry or whatever, their skin turns red. Any type of skin condition, it'll be red. It's a biblical description, so you can know who these people are in the earth at all times, even these times, the end times. So yes, I am an Edomite.
The vision of Obadiah. Thus saith the Lord God concerning Edom. We have heard a rumor from the Lord, and an ambassador is sent among the heathen. Arise ye, and let us rise up against her in battle. Behold, I have made thee small among the heathen. Thou art greatly despised. The pride of thine heart hath deceived thee, thou that dwellest in the clefts of the rock, whose habitation is high, that saith in his heart, Who shall bring me down to the ground? Though thou exalt thyself as the eagle, and though thou set thy nest among the stars, thence will I bring thee down, saith the Lord. If thieves came to thee, if robbers by night, how art thou cut off? Would they not have stolen till they had enough? If the grape gatherers came to thee, would they not leave some grapes? How are the things of Esau searched out? How are his hidden things sought up? All the men of thy confederacy have brought thee even to the border. The men that were at peace with thee have deceived thee and prevailed against thee. They that eat thy bread have laid a wound unto thee. There is none understanding in it. Shall I not in that day, saith the Lord, even destroy the wise men out of Edom, and understanding out of the mount of Esau? And thy mighty men, O Teman, shall be dismayed, to the end that every one of the mount of Esau may be cut off by slaughter. For thy violence against thy brother Jacob, shame shall cover thee, and thou shalt be cut off forever. In the day that thou stoodest on the other side, in the day that the strangers carried away captive his forces, and foreigners entered into his gates, and cast lots upon Jerusalem, even thou wast as one of them. But thou shouldest not have looked on the day of thy brother in the day that he became a stranger, neither shouldst thou have rejoiced over the children of Judah in the day of their destruction, neither shouldest thou have spoken proudly in the day of distress. Thou shouldest not have entered into the gate of my people in the day of their calamity. Yea, thou shouldest not have looked on their affliction in the day of their calamity, nor have laid hands on their substance in the day of their calamity. Neither shouldest thou have stood in the crossway to cut off those of his that did escape. Neither shouldest thou have delivered up those of his that did remain in the day of distress. For the day of the Lord is near upon all the heathen. As thou hast done, it shall be done unto thee. Thy reward shall return upon thine own head. For as ye have drunk upon my holy mountain, so shall all the heathen drink continually. Yea, they shall drink, and they shall swallow down, and they shall be as though they had not been. But upon Mount Zion shall be deliverance, and there shall be holiness, and the house of Jacob shall possess their possessions. And the house of Jacob shall be a fire, and the house of Joseph a flame, and the house of Esau for stubble. And they shall kindle in them and devour them. And there shall not be any remaining of the house of Esau, for the Lord hath spoken it. And they of the south shall possess the mount of Esau, and they of the plain the Philistines, and they shall possess the fields of Ephraim and the fields of Samaria, and Benjamin shall possess Gilead. And the captivity of this host of the children of Israel shall possess that of the Canaanites, even unto Zarephath. And the captivity of Jerusalem, which is in Sepharad, shall possess the cities of the south. And the Saviors shall come up on Mount Zion to judge the mount of Esau, and the kingdom shall be the Lord's. The end of Obadiah.
Black black is a color. There's no such thing as color when you're naming nations. Nations comes from fathers, and it's really ignorant to call people black people. But if you do the research, the true nationality of the so-called black people is Israelite or Hebrew Israelites. The true nationality of the so-called black people is Israelite or Hebrew Israelites. The true nationality of the so-called black people is Israelite or Hebrew Israelites. And they're a nation of people who descended from Jacob, who was later named Israel, who had 12 sons, who became the 12 tribes, who multiplied into the uncountable number of Israelites that are as the sands of the seas today. Can't count them, there's so many. Yes, they are Hebrew Israelites. And that's not a religion, that's not a cult, it's strictly a nationality bloodline of people. And it's that simple. They're a bloodline, and you cannot convert into being an Israelite. You can't, change to be an Israelite. You are what your father was, what your forefathers are. I can't claim to be an Israelite because I know for a fact that I'm an Edomite. Israel was not my forefather. Esau was, based on the biblical descriptions. And the Africans of today, they're different from the Israelites. While yes, some Israelites still do dwell in Africa after running into Africa from Israel in 70 AD, that is true. Israelites are spread across the world, across the four corners of the earth. But the Africans the majority are Hamites. They aren't even of the seed of Shem, which is the forefather of Israel or Jacob. And it's that's kind of the consequence of calling dark colored or people of color black people. You would never know the difference between an Israelite or a Hamite. There's a huge difference that in these times must be revealed, because these are the end times and these people need to wake up, because the Christ is coming for these people. And if they don't know who they are, I don't know how they can be caught up with them. It's the start. You need to know who you are before you make any other progress. It states in the Bible that the Most Highest people are destroyed for a lack of knowledge. That knowledge is thinking that they're black, they're Africans, they come from Africa, the motherland. No, they don't even realize that they predate Africa. They're from Israel. They ran into Africa, and they don't even have anything to do with Africa. They have everything to do with Israel, though, and that is very important, because Israel was promised a very big promise by the Most High, and in order for them to receive that, they must at least acknowledge their nationality. I can give you is Deuteronomy 28. You can clearly read how they fell, and they would be cursed in the future to come over on cargo slave ships, and they did. That was the American slave trade. Sorry, the American continental Atlantic slave trade, whatever it's officially called. That was their curse, and that was brought about by the Most High because they fell as a nation. They sinned. But yeah, it's really clear. Like, no other people on the earth ever went into slavery by cargo slave ships, except these so-called, African Americans, which are clearly Israelites, because of this very prophecy, this very active thing happening. Revelations 1:14, it clear, 14 through 17, I'm sure, clearly states that Christ, who himself was an Israelite, his feet were as a burnt brass, a burnt fiery brass, which you could simply Google search bronze, brass, burnt. It will look exactly like a black person's skin tone, like spot on exactly. It's undeniable. In Revelations 2 and 9, the people in Israel today who got there, in 1948, they're not Israelites. They come from Khazaria, the Khazarian Empire. They're not even Jews. They're not even close to Jews. They're my people. We're Edomites. We're not even close to Israel. Well, I guess we're the twins, but still can't. I can't call myself Israel because I'm the twin. Doesn't work like that. And yeah, Revelations 2 and 9 states, the people over there, and you can put together, are the synagogue of Satan. They're, the Most High knows the tribulations that the true Israelites are going through in these times. The slave ships, all the way to Planned Parenthood, these vaccines, the rich oppressing these people who just so happen to be the poor of the earth. It's discrimination, lynching, like so many terrible things that the other nations have conspired against these chosen people of the Most High. The people in Israel are the opposite of the Israelites. They only want to destroy them. They're only there for political reasons. They're not even there to follow the Most High by any means. It's all just a huge reverse deception that everyone has fallen for, because our forefathers, our grandparents didn't know this really. So how could they possibly teach us and prevent us from this knowledge? But now is the time. People know now. Now is the time to wake up from your sleep, Israel. Yeshua is coming. Christ is coming for you and for all those in his name. And that's very important that you know who you are. Joseph's brothers, just as an example, Joseph, his brothers came to Egypt looking for food, and Joseph was second in command of Egypt. All praises to the Most High for that blessing. But his brothers didn't even recognize him, because common sense would tell you their time wasn't very far from Noah, and people weren't mixing all that much at that time, and people looked pretty similar, and especially in skin color, especially since before Esau, there had been no so-called white people in the earth at that time. So it's easy to perceive that his brothers wouldn't even recognize him, because, obviously I hadn't seen him for a while, but he looked physically like pretty much everybody else. Everybody looked, they all had dark skin, and even Moses, the Pharaoh had ordered all the firstborn Israelites to be thrown into the Nile for the gators to eat up, and he didn't even realize that Moses was a Hebrew the entire time he raised him from birth, or his wife or handmaiden. I'm not 100% sure, but yeah, I mean, it's clear that even Paul is mistaken to be an Egyptian, who are definitely historically proven by our world standards to be people of color, like so-called black people. The Egyptians, and Paul, he was mistaken to be an Egyptian because he was a person of color. You know, and every single time you look into the fact that the Israelites were people of color, it will always be true. You will never ever see in the Bible any proof that they are people, or that they match any description of the people in Israel today. For example, people in Israel today do not by any means match the biblical description of who the true Israelites are. And with that, I'm going to say shalom. I hope y'all got some information and knowledge and understanding from this, because now is the time for these people to wake up, and it's time to stop being ignorant to this fact, because Christ is coming whether you acknowledge it or not. It'd be better that you acknowledge it and accept Christ rather than not acknowledge it and just the worst happen. God forbid. You know, and I pray that all Israelites stumble across this message, not this particular message, but the message that who they are. It is very important that Israelites that do wake up realize that that's the only way that the Gentile nations will ever know the truth. It is very important that Israelites that do wake up realize that that's the only way that the Gentile nations will ever know the truth is if they bring it forth, because for 99.9% of the people in the earth of Gentiles that are bringing forth words out of the Bible, they're lacing it with deception. And the Israelites, they got the Spirit on them, linking in with the Most High, to where they don't do that as long as they're doing it right, and it's through them that the gospel should be spread throughout the earth, and through them salvation will be shown. They're the ones that are supposed to show us who Yeshua is, who the Christ is, and that Yeshua is the way, the truth, and the light, and no man goes to the Father but through him. But first you even have to have that information, and you must get that information. It's important for you Israelites to get that information out, because you are the light to the Gentiles. And I just want to read a section out of John, St. John, chapter 4, verse 22. It says, "Ye worship ye know not what we know what we worship, for salvation is of the Jews." And Christ is talking about here that, well, he's talking to a woman, but she didn't, or he was just explaining that it is through the Jews that the salvation is given. It's not through any of the other nations. That's very clear. The Most High gave the promise to the Israelites, children of Israel. And it's just, you gotta wake up and spread this light throughout the world. It's time for people to start coming back to the Father. Great awakening has begun, and it is in progress. The birthing pains are happening, and Most High is ready to deliver his people back into their land and into the kingdom, and it's going to be great. So I pray to the Most High that all Israelites that are called by him take heed to that calling, and spread the light to all the Gentiles. I appreciate the one that showed me the light, and every other Gentile would appreciate it too. And all praise to the Father for that. And with that, I'm going to say shalom.